as you guys are setting your intentions for the day, I'm going to switch gears on you and get into the heart of what we're going to do, which is, of course, our educational exploration. I am Punch Life Back. I am a life coach. I specialize in resilience, so I boost your well-being and I help you over time, like build a life for yourself of flourishing and thriving. And then because of the resilience piece, I'm able to help support you in maintaining your ability to thrive and experience well-being even when you're experiencing like trauma or an adversity. So that is my life purpose, is to help people do this, to do it for myself. So thank you for being here and enabling me to just feel awesome about who I am. So to live on purpose, to work on purpose is a really good feeling. Okay. Our educational exploration today is on core values, and I chose this because it's foundational to a lot of what life coaching is about, and it's a really good thing to start a new year with. So if you don't have, like, if you don't know off the top of your head what your core values are, like, that's what today is about. So if you are a sub of our channel, we have a sub-only Discord that will give you a worksheet that you can do which is like a summary of what I'm about to take you through. So you don't have to be a sub to access it. You do have to be a sub to access the worksheet, but just watching today, you're going to go through the worksheet. It is really helpful to have it on a piece of paper, though. Just putting it out there. And that is one of the main benefits of being a sub. So there you go. Okay, so core values are the personal qualities that are most important to you. They're the ones that are most important to me. So they're individual and individualistic, right? They're unique to the individual. And they're the values that we prioritize above all else. They're the ones that, like, when we don't uphold them, our lives don't work. And, like, we just feel crummy. They're things like honesty, love, achievement, freedom, integrity, authenticity, right? They're all, like, things that are admirable. And so one way that we can power up our well-being is by clarifying and then honoring our core values. So, hey, you already know yours. Honesty, productivity, and humor. Beautiful. It is reminding you of Inside Out. Hi for the giggle. Oh, I like that. Hi, Arandos. Hello. Welcome. Yes, meditation helps me with that too. Yes. I love it. I love the creativity and just going for it. All right, well, we'll walk through we'll go through the educational bit and then you'll see if they still stick for you. Yeah, we got 100 gifted subs. It was incredible. Yeah, my mind was blown for sure. I was super grateful. Oh, interesting, SS. I wonder, so it's not uncommon for us to feel like we're kind of like one person with these groups of people and then this person with another group of people. Like, a lot of that, like, kind of has to happen. Like, we have somewhat of a workforce persona or a professional persona, right? And then our home persona, so to speak. So sometimes, like, you know, we have to do some of that just to fit in with a professional crowd or whatever. But I'm curious to see, as we go through this, SS, like, how much you still feel that way at the end of it. So I don't know, Mrs. Scott or Mr. Scott, if you have this. I shared it with Scott ahead of time, but I have a link to I can just pull it up. Let me just pull it up. So here we go. Okay. Yes. So this is a list of core values that I made, and let me scroll down. So they're like what could be a core value is really, really limitless. It's like an attribute, a quality. It's usually a positively framed thing, right? So I'm gonna keep this up here so that you can use it as a reference while we go through the exercises. And yeah, so I think you can see them all. Cool, great. So the idea is that we're about to unpack your core values, and by the end, ideally you'll have 3 to 5. Oh, okay, well that's weird. Well, here we go. I'm glad I can just have it up. So why do we care about core values? Okay, well thanks, Mr. Scott. I was worried about that. And I tested it in an incognito window, but anyways. Okay, cool. So, why do we do this? The reason is that there are substantial benefits to knowing our core values. So one is that when you're in integrity with your core values, it helps you live more authentically. And I think authenticity is really crucial to well-being, and in part because it's crucial to having thriving relationships. You know, we all want to, I say this all the time, but we all want to feel like we love and that we're loved and that we belong. And it's really hard to actually feel that when we're not being authentic, because what people are loving or accepting isn't who we really are, right? So being able to represent ourselves more and more authentically means we're opening ourselves up to like true, meaningful, powerful human connection, which is crucial to resilience and really important to our well-being. So the second is that when we have like a tough decision, we can ask ourselves whether or not the decision aligns with our core values. So it can help us make tough choices with more ease and less angst, which I can really use. I think another reason why this is beneficial is that oftentimes, at least for me, a cause of like my dissatisfaction is being unaligned with my core values. So oftentimes when I'm feeling awful, I'll check in with my core values and just see like, am I in alignment with these guys? And if I'm not, they offer clues to shifting my dissatisfaction to satisfaction. So I really like them for that reason. So the other thing is goal setting, you guys, can be more powerful. Like we just stepped in the new year. A lot of people have New Year's resolutions. The reason why it's more powerful is because when we set goals on our values, we're setting them on what's really important to us. We're no longer setting them on what we think we should do or what we think others think we should do. So our goals are more authentic, and that helps them be more, it increases our likelihood of being successful at them, I think. Another related reason is that core values can help us shift our mindsets away from mistakes and failure, because when we make a decision or set a goal that's in alignment with our core values, we will always get value in return, even when we don't succeed. So I don't know, that seems like a big one, so I just kind of paused dramatically. By the way, guys, I love that you're continuing the conversation. When I'm doing the educational exploration, I might miss some of the stuff in chat, so I know you guys can support and take care of yourselves, which is awesome. Okay, so again, another benefit. When we consistently honor our core values, we tend to feel more fulfilled. And when we don't, and we're feeling like that dissatisfaction or unease, we're more likely to self-sabotage and engage in bad habits, which, boo, right? And lastly, so you'll hear me say this all the time, but like one of the core beliefs of the Matrix Guard in general, of our Epic Fellowship, is that all of us are heroes. We may just not know it yet. Like we all have heroic potential. And so one of the ways as a life coach that I think about our lives and I frame a lot of my coaching around is Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. And it's simply a a metaphor for understanding what it's like to engage fully with life and to grow. And the beginning of a heroic journey starts with a call to adventure. So you are at home where you're safe and you're comfortable, but all of a sudden you feel a pull to go on an adventure. So this could be like starting a new business, going to school and getting a degree. It could be asking somebody out, right? Like it's like there's these like impulses to become more than you currently are. So I have a lot of those. Like they're kind of nonstop. And when I first started like paying attention to them, I was like, I can't possibly do them all. Like the hero's journey is like, do them, go. But I was like, whoa. Like I have a lot of these things. How do I make the tough decision to choose which call to adventure to answer and which one not to? My core values help me out a lot. It's a tough decision that they help me out with. So, okay. So that's the last main benefit that I thought of when I was like, why is this important? So hopefully that's convinced you that this is something you want to pay attention to and do. If not, no worries. You're always at choice. So, I don't think there's any questions. Cool. So, 2 points that are really important that I want you to keep in mind as we do this work. The first is that you and you alone get to choose your core values. So this is something that is unique to who you are as a human being. And they will most likely grow and change with you over time. So what you choose today, like don't feel like this is a super important decision that you can never change and you feel trapped by like the perfectionism of it. No. Like you're always at power to choose your core values and to do this exercise anytime you feel like they're not quite right yet. And we do, as we step out and we grow, we go on our hero's journey, we change, and our core values will change over time. So that was number one. You are in control, right? And you're at choice with your values. So 2 is that there is a type of value that doesn't give the benefits that I've mentioned. And those values are fear-based values. And those are the values you feel like you should have. That you feel you should hold sacred. And we all have them. And sometimes it's really hard to decipher whether or not it's a true value or a fear-based value. And this is they come to us as a result of our culture and our upbringing. They're the things that we've been told time and time again should be really important to us. And because all values are things that are to be admired about somebody, they're tricky little devils. The fear-based values can be really, really tricky. But we are more likely to thrive and experience well-being when we're able to move away from the fear-based values towards the values that actually inspire and motivate and mean something to you. Not to your family and not to your culture, but to you. So as you go through the worksheet, just trust your instincts on whether the value is a fear-based value or not. And if it is a fear-based value, resist the urge to select it as one of your core values if you can. And one of the ways, like the tricks that I've learned to help me decipher a tricky value is that if I have a lot of judgment wrapped around the value, chances are it's fear-based. So if it feels sticky, if it feels heavy, if you feel like any sort of shame around the value, big red flag that that's a fear-based value and you can just set it aside and you don't need to choose it. So, okay, beautiful. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. How many, okay, I'm debating whether or not to just like run through the questions and assume that like you'll do it on your own some other time, or to give some space to do the questions now. And I think I'm going to give some space. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So, okay. So if you have paper or you've got your computer up, awesome. Again, if you're a sub, you should be able to access the worksheet already in the sub-only Discord. So keep in mind, you guys, that your core values, again, They're going to inspire you. They're going to spark you. They're going to speak to you. They're going to motivate you. They're going to jazz you up. And while they will change over time, like I mentioned, they do tend to be rather long lasting. So if you think that the value might change in a week or a month, it's not a core value. It's an attribute you admire. Okay. So definitely, as we go through the questions, you liberally use this list that's in front of you of core values. Feel free to invent ones and come up with ones that aren't here. And you're going to start off with quite a lot of values that will, over time, will down to like 3 to 5. Sorry. My cold is getting the better of me. Okay, beautiful. Okay, question number 1 is that you want to think about a time in your life when life was at its best. All right. And chances are, you guys, that this moment in time felt good for you because some or all of your core values were being honored or they were in play. So once you have that moment in time in your mind, you want to ask yourself what values you think were being expressed and use the list. So I have an example. I was a actress for like 14 years, and I was filming my life. Like, one of my highlights of my life was when I was filming my second horror movie, and I was just in cloud nine. I was so happy. It was a ridiculous movie. It was meant to be, and it was just ridiculously fun. And when I reflected on it, like I'm asking you guys to do, I realized I was in heaven because it was a combination of 2 of my most important values, which were connection and adventure. Oh, interesting, Sitli. So I guess what I would say to that is core values are, I think of them more like our heroic potential, in that they're innate to who we are. Like, we have them. Like, it's about what you value, not about what you express or uphold. So so if you're really out of alignment with what you hold the most valuable, chances are that's not going to feel good, and like you'll be motivated because of that discomfort to make little changes over time to move more into alignment with them. Whereas what I hear you saying is like, okay, there's a quality, like I would like to be, say for example, brave. Like, that's one of, like, my adventure like equates to bravery. So I think about that all the time. So like, if I want to be more and more brave, but I don't have like the effort or the time or the know-how to like start cultivating it, that feels different to me than what I value in my core is bravery, like, period, and stop. And then the work later comes on how do I move myself more and more into integrity with bravery. Yeah. And I'm going to share a tool. I created, like, if you look under me, right, in the panels to the power-ups, I've added a power-up for the core values. And this is an alignment tool. And I'll show it to you guys in a little bit. But it will help you anytime you want to check in with your core values and see how in alignment you are, and to course correct and come up with ideas on how to do that. Use the tool. But yeah, like, this is the kind of thing that, like, I would love to talk to you more about and, like, kind of coach you around if you wanted, because not having enough time or ability to cultivate, those are like outer obstacles that are super easy to handle. And one of the ways we would start is like, just like ask yourself, what is the like minimal thing I could do to start moving towards that thing that I want? And just start there, you know? Like it doesn't like we don't have to do, like we don't have to move mountains at the beginning. We just start super simply. Yeah. Oh. So this sounds like really related to core values are character strengths, and it's gonna, like, I think I'm doing that on Friday as the episode, because yeah, we all have strengths like creativity, bravery, love. There's a lot of them. Judgment, and I'm guessing creativity is gonna be one of yours. I love that it escapes. That it's like this thing in your head that can escape and take you over. I so know the feeling. All right, so I'm gonna move on to number 2, but we can keep talking. So now we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna think of a time in your life that sucked, that just was not awesome. And when you have that in mind, you again want to get really curious and ask yourself what was going on, what were you feeling? And here's the thing, chances are some of your core values were probably being challenged, right? Because when we're not in alignment with our core values, life tends to suck. So I have like a much more surfacey example of this. Yeah, right? I mean, I'm speaking from experience. So speaking from experience. So a surfacey example of this. So my core values, guys, are connection, adventure, and vitality. So I get really, really angry when I'm driving and some person is driving recklessly because they're jeopardizing my core value of vitality by putting my life in danger. But likewise, like if I'm not honoring my vitality by like eating well and working out, like I actually like my well-being doesn't just like go down as you would expect with like poor health. Like it takes more of a dive than that, which is partly how I know it's a core value. Like my overall life satisfaction and well-being, like my life. So here's the thing, without your core values, your life tends to not work. So think of a time when your life wasn't working and ask what was being violated, right? Like what was missing. Mr. Scott, no, I'm so sorry. That was one of the worst moments of my life too. Because my core value of connection was about to end with you because you were dying. But you didn't die. And you know, kids do stupid things, right? And yet we survived. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad the meditation helped. Yeah, Mr. Scott's talking about when the Mrs. and the Mr. and I went for our backpacking trip. This was many years ago. And we were in the mountains in Colorado, and we got caught in a snowstorm. And we were kids. Anyways, Scott got hypothermia, and yeah, like it was not good. It was really, really touch and go. And like I had no idea what was going on because I was in the girls' tent. Oh, Scott. Wow, really, Sitley? So yeah, it's definitely sounds like it's giving you some clarity, the question. Yeah. Right? Right, Dernette? Me too. My life would be so different if I had lost Scott that day, because I totally would have felt responsible. It was still fun. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. time to dive in to the second question because we're moving on to the third. Okay, so looking at this list, what must you absolutely experience in life? Like, what core value do you think drives this experience, right? So another way to like kind of get into this I've hinted at, which is like, what on this list can I not live without? Like, if I don't have this, like, my life won't work or doesn't work. No, I mean, you just want to like basically like pull anything off of this list, like add to the list. Like each question you're like getting ideas right from this list or your head, and you're like hopefully like writing them down. So your list is getting longer and longer with each question. So for this one, it's not simply, but the idea is, what on this list, if the list helps, can you not live without? Or if you don't have it, your life doesn't work. Or you can just think about what must you absolutely experience in life? So it's another way of looking at the question we just answered, which is like, I went through this terrible time in my life. What core values were not being honored? Like, what values weren't being honored? They're probably my core values. So now we're just saying, okay, well then what do I absolutely need to experience in life? So for me, I know. If I'm not growing, I feel like I'm dying. I'm not actually dying. But that adage of like, you know, when you stop growing, you die, like, is true for me. Like, my life becomes meaningless. I become really depressed. It just, like, my life literally doesn't work. So I've translated that into the core value of adventure, which for me encaptures bravery, growth, like the hero's journey. So that's how I was able to translate that. Another example is my core value of connection with other people or animals, just my like being able to connect to other beings, really. And that's a core value for me because without it, when I feel disconnected, again, I'm depressed. My life just starts to fall apart and I'm miserable and it just really doesn't work. Sidley, thank you so much for sharing. Basically, tick, 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 yeah. Most things happen on their own if you're open to them. So I don't know if this is what you're referring to, Jeanette, but like, that's so true for me. Like, once I was like, okay, I value with everything I am adventure. So then the second part, which is coming, is how do I start living in alignment with that more and more over time? And a lot of it was just becoming open to the adventures that show up all the time, like big and small. That's the thing, is like, life has surprised me with how little effort I need to make once I'm open to it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, all of those things, like all of the things we want in life are showing up at our door all the time. We're just not seeing them, you know, or we're not open to them. I love that you brought that up. So by now, you guys, you probably have like a list of like 10 to maybe even 40 values, right? That these exercises have been brought up for you. And that's like way too much. Like there's just those aren't your core values yet. So the next step is to look at the list you've generated and to try to batch the core values into groups. So let me see if I can come up with an example. My value of connection came from this step because I had things like love, safety, belonging, romance. I'm looking at friendship. I had a lot of things that when I looked at them, I was like, oh wait, these are thematically, they're the same for me. So I put them I bunched them together. And once I had my bunches, and there were several, right? There was a bunch, there was like 5 or whatever. Once I had my bunches, I then had to get creative and go, okay, what one value word summarizes that bunch? And for me, that was connection. For love and friendship and safety and do. So we're looking for themes and then naming the theme. And this really should help you get all the way down to your 3 to 5 values. And again, like just being like, okay, what word best summarizes this theme? And then if you still have more than 3 to 5, you want to whittle them down by getting super serious with yourself and asking yourself which are the most essential to your life. Like which motivate or inspire you the most. And remember, there really isn't any right or wrong because none of this is set in stone. The other thing that is now coming to my mind is this might be a good time to check in with those fear-based values and just kind of like look at them and say, ooh, do any of these themes feel heavy to me? Yeah, it's tricky, Sitley. It's tricky. And it took it like, you know, you're probably not like gonna walk away today and be like, haha, like for sure these are them. Like these might work on you for a while, especially because of your creativity. Like I bet like it's just gonna pop into your brain. Like you'll be later like taking a shower or something and it'll be like, oh. Okay, so you feel, maybe that's because you feel fulfilled when you feel loved or you're feeling love. So to me, if that's true, if that resonated with you, the way I would then interpret that is say, okay, love is probably the core value because what we know about core values is when we honor them, we tend to feel satisfied, fulfilled, happy. So fulfillment is kind of like the state of being you feel once you honor a core value, if that makes sense. I hope that helped. Okay, so I'm gonna move on just because we're running low on time. Okay, so the reason why 3 to 5 core values is the ideal number is that if you have too little, like 1 or 2, they don't really capture enough of what's most important to you, and you won't be satisfied with it. If it's too many, you end up losing track of them and you forget to honor them, and it just becomes kind of the work of being in alignment with them becomes really, really onerous and heavy. So at this point, you hopefully have 3 to 5. If not, you will. Just trust the process. And you can always email me, you guys, at punchlifeback@thematrixguard.com, and I will help you out. So, okay, so if you have more than 3, you want to do your best to prioritize them. You want to rank them in order of importance, from most important to least important. And this is just to help you out, so you know like what's at the top of your list. You might want to start there with the alignment piece that I'm about to share, because you'll get the most bang for your time, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's a bonus exercise, and this was like my most favorite part, because this is where it like all came together for me. So the bonus exercise is to take each of your core values and turn them into an inspiring short sentence. For me, I did it as like a toast, like, hey, here's to blah, 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 or cheers, da, 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 da. And the reason why I did this is because my values came from the bunching category method, where like the theme method, I had to name the theme. So I ended up with like all these like really lovely, juicy, inspiring words, like that didn't make it into the theme descriptor word. So for example, with my connection, I had, you know, authenticity and love, and I was just like, I really want to use those. So here's how I did it. I said, here's to loving unconditionally and sharing my authentic self. Ah, you see how I did that? So my core value toast for connection is, here's to loving unconditionally and sharing my authentic self. And that's just motivating to me. I sound like I'm from the Midwest. Motivating. I don't even know what that is. So for adventure, I ended up coming with, here's to always going there and back again, because I am a Tolkien fan, and that means a lot to me and motivates me. For vitality, I wrote, here's to living fully with zest. Ah, thank you, Dernette. No. All good. Get out of this dream. Yes, exactly. Oh, drop the token quotes all the time with me, and I'm gonna be so happy. I just want a book of them. I'm sure it's out there. I just need to go look for it. So that's the last little, like, if you really want to do it, create toasts for your core values, and I think you'll find them all the more inspiring. It is, right? It is kind of a mantra. Exactly. It's exactly it. Like, you could take your toasts and meditate on them. So instead of focusing on your breath, you can focus on, here's to always going there and back again. Right? Like, what a cool intention to set for the day. I'll totally be going back to being open to what we want. It will open you to what you want, to what you most value in life. So, okay. Running short on time, I just want to share the PowerUP tool that is in the panel underneath, you know, like the Twitch panel. So, this is where the alignment piece comes in, Sitli, that you were getting at earlier. And this is where we're gonna help ourselves be in alignment with our, be more authentic by being in alignment with our core values. So you do this anytime maybe you're like, oh, I feel a little dissatisfied. I don't know what's going on. You remember, oh, that's right. Punch life back, core values. I'm gonna go do the tool. So you do this once for each core value each time you show up to the tool. So for example, my core value of connection, right? Okay, there it is. Oh, actually, let me refresh this because, so I put a link to me filming this worksheet in case you don't yet know what your core values are and you want to go through it again. There's like a 10-minute video that explains it all again. So that's right here, linked into this exercise, the tool. So you put in your core value, and then you say how aligned you currently are, from not at all to perfectly. And if you're perfectly aligned, then you just go celebrate, have a good time, and move on with your life. If you're not, and most of us aren't gonna be. This is all a journey. There's no perfection here ever, right? You just go, okay, why wasn't my alignment score higher? What's going on? And your creativity in your brain is gonna generate some output there. And then you just, here it is. What do you wanna do about that? Okay, so you have an opportunity to course correct it. Will you take it? That's all it is, right? And then you can come up with like, okay, what little thing could I do differently? And you write it down. And then to be even more likely to follow through, I have the last question here, which is how do you want to be held accountable? You guys can share it in chat anytime. You can email us at the info@thematrixguard. You can email me, please, at punchlifeback@thematrixguard.com. You can tell a friend, you can write it down, whatever. And then you just send it. You can, if you want a copy of response and keep a record of it, there you go. You get it. It's all anonymous, so you know, it's all there. And it just helps us keep in alignment with it. So okay. That's the bit of today, and I only have 3 minutes before I have to raid and move on. But you guys, I just want to say, you guys are awesome. I took over a week off, so to come back to such like a wonderful chat means so much to me. And I guess I just want to say, like, following or subbing is a really, really wonderful thing to do. But if you want it, if you really, really like what we're doing, please share us with the world. We are an epic fellowship of viewers and streamers who are like unleashing our heroic potential. And we're doing it in large part so that we can help Twitch and our loved ones overcome things like suicide, bullying, and hatred. So it's a really important mission that everybody here feels really, really passionate about. There's 2 opportunities to like really dive in with us. If you're a streamer, you can become a Vanguard. And that simply like means you care about the mental health and well-being of your viewers, and that you've joined our Epic Fellowship and are helping us build this. And it's like, it's super simple and it's really a lot of fun. Like you participate in like a focus group on Discord, you know, things like that. You can also become a Guardian, which is for viewers who really want to be able to be there for their loved ones or for other viewers when they're going through a tough time. and like to know how to have conversations that just reduce the stigma of mental health in general, or just adversity and like all the stuff that we all go through. So if you are interested in either of those, click on the shield and the sword below, and just let us know, and we'll talk to you. We'll just connect with you and talk through whatever you're curious about. Again, if you want the worksheets from my coaching shows, you sub or you become a patron on Patreon, and you'll have access to them. And what else? I just love you guys. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for being here.